Loading. System update. You are now part of the herd. Welcome back, herd. If you're new here and you found yourself looking for a place that you want to grow, heal, and you're also wanting to push yourself to take the scary steps into the life you've always wanted, you found your herd. I'm Haley Binkley. Coming off episode 2, I've been thinking a lot about growth, healing, and the steps that I took to crawl out of a really dark space in my life. As I was talking about on episode 2, today I want to share some of the things that helped me and continue to help me move forward. Things that help me reclaim my mindset, my energy, my life, and they help me stay there. Some of it is about mindset, some of it is about self-care, and some of it is about taking actionable steps to keep progressing. And also, I struggle to remind myself to be proud of the small wins. For one, I go to sleep at night excited to wake up the next day and live the life that I've created for myself now. Like sometimes I can't even sleep, which sounds crazy. And I never thought that I would be in a place where I'm excited to wake up the next day and get my to-do list done. It's really weird, actually, saying it out loud. It makes me sound crazy, but I also am sometimes so focused on my to-do list that I forget to remind myself that this is the life, one version of my life that I prayed for once upon a time. When I was walking to work, wishing I had a car, not knowing what it would actually feel like to have a car. I remember one time specifically walking to work in the rain and trying to picture what it would be like to drive, to get into a car and drive to wherever I wanted to go. And it's pretty crazy. Obviously, something so small, but it was so big to me at the time because it felt completely out of reach for me. I just never thought I would have a car. And, once I got a car, I never thought I would have a nice car. And building on that, I never thought I would have a home that was my own, that nobody could tell me what color to paint the walls. Nobody could tell me that I couldn't have my animals. And building off of that, I never thought that I would have 2 homes. One that is a business, but it is a vision of, it is something that I had imagined for myself and that I took the steps to create. So sitting here in the future, if you will, is actually really cool. It kind of makes me want to get emotional because of the girl that didn't think that she would be able to do any of this stuff for herself, by herself. Obviously, I've had a lot of people along the way help me and support me and get me to a mindset where I thought that I could do it, but I was always my number one supporter, my number one, oh, you tell me I can't do that? Well, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. And, you know, it might come from a competitive standpoint for me because I am very competitive. I am very much a girl that, especially if a man in my life tells me I couldn't do something, I was like, oh, why? Because I'm a girl? Okay, let me prove you otherwise. So I really think it is my competitive nature that has created this person that is, for one, a fighter in good ways and bad ways. But sitting here from a place where I once thought I was never going to crawl out of the life that I thought was destined for me, it's really cool. It's like not a full circle moment, but it is definitely, we're getting there. So every morning I try to wake up and remind myself that this is a version of me that I prayed for, that I wanted. And it's easy to get caught up in the go, go, go mentality, which is very much my personality. And I forget to be grateful for right here and right now, even though I do find myself telling myself how excited and grateful I am for this moment in my life. I'm actively fighting a cat to stay off my soundboard. She doesn't want anything to do with me until I start doing something. So, with that being said, I do obviously still want to keep progressing, keep learning, growing, and stepping into the future. I want to build for myself. I do not feel like I've made it to my full potential yet, which is exciting and scary. But I do feel like I can see her clearly. I know what a day looks like for her. So I'm going to share some of the things that helped me stay focused on becoming her, the steps that got me to where I can see my future self clearly. After a few of the traumatic events that I went through that I shared on the last episode, I found myself very lost, very confused on who I was. I didn't know what was next. I felt like a shell of myself. I felt like, especially through therapy, you learn big T, little t. Little t's are traumas that you go through, small traumas in your life. Everyone's little t's are different. Big T's are large, life-changing events, big trauma events, like me being attacked. And I found myself not knowing who I was anymore because it was Haley before the attack and Haley after the attack. So that got me on a journey to find Haley And it didn't happen overnight. I started looking for something. This was after I went through the trauma of attempting to heal through this, crying, hurting, to be honest, drinking, making jokes about it, whatever I could do to feel some kind of comfort in what had just happened to me. And also trying to like kind of make people feel comfortable about what had happened to me. Like it's the kind of thing that you hear about in the movies or on a podcast happening to someone, and you're thinking this doesn't happen in the real world until it happens to you or someone you know. So it was almost like, obviously everyone in the small town knew what had happened, but I had a responsibility to comfort people in me being okay, what had happened to me. But also I still never felt like it was me. I felt like my soul left my body for that experience. So I found myself on a journey to find Haley, because everything that I thought I knew was not the truth anymore. So I found myself signing up for a yoga teacher training. And I do believe that gave me a foundation for finding my soul again. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. I grew up homeschooled through this church, as I mentioned before. So religion was traumatic for me. There was a lot of rejection in this church growing up because of the divorce that my parents were going through. And at the time, I didn't know why these people were rejecting me, these people we grew up with, why they were looking at us weird and whispering in hallways about us. These were the only friends that I knew. So basically, it felt like everybody that I grew up with and that I was homeschooled with turned their backs on me, even though I was a child. But it was because of the divorce that my parents were going through and how it played out. So there's a lot of trauma in the religious world for me. But I remember as a child being angry about my relationship with God, or like the whole organized religion thing. Not that I knew much about it, but I just didn't understand why these people would reject me and feel like, why did I feel like I did something wrong when I didn't? So there's a lot of trauma in the religious world for me, but I do think that I have always been spiritual. So for me personally, when I refer to God, it is my version of God, which I think personally, God is God is God is God. You know, what, it doesn't matter what religion, but even the word or the name God was hard for me to say for a long time because of this religious trauma that I went through. So going through the yoga teacher training helped me reconnect with God. And I believe that God is in everyone. And through yoga, I found my God. And I can't pinpoint any one situation that made me feel connected again, but I think it was the safety that I found again, but within myself. Because I remember growing up in this church and thinking that God was this external being. And for me personally, I learned that God was more so something that already lived in me. So it was an interesting way that my mind changed in that direction of, that religion is connected to this higher being, and it was okay for me to feel safe to feel that connection again, but in a different way. So yoga gave me this power again that I didn't realize that I had. And it also was me stepping out of my comfort zone, having to teach classes when I was finished with this, me realizing my strength again physically, because I've always been very athletic and enjoyed sports and being strong and feeling strong. So yoga gave me that push again. And I really think that that was a huge part of my healing journey, along with talking about my trauma and breathing through the panic attacks that I would have. And it really helped me release the stress of the pain that I didn't even realize that I was holding. So after my yoga teacher training, I taught for a little bit, and COVID ended up happening, and I wasn't able to stay in the yoga world because the studio that I worked at ended up shutting down. I ended up kind of stepping away from the yoga teaching world, but also still very much deep in my yoga practice, and more so in a spiritual way rather than a physical way. Connecting with the breath, but also occasionally going to a yoga class. There's a local teacher in town that I love, and her class always felt like essentially church to me, which my version of church, everyone's version is different, I'm sure. I've always felt like I was supposed to heal or help people in some way, which is what then brought me to going to massage school. Massage school was a challenge for me because I was bartending late nights. I was still kind of in a party phase to where I was newly single out of abusive relationships. I bought my first house. I had a job that felt financially secure for me, and I was happy. I was in my mid-20s, and I felt more like me again. But I was also making decisions that were hurting me because I was trying to find the balance of the pain that I still felt, me searching for love, but also me feeling free. This was the first time I'd ever been not locked down by a relationship, a very unhealthy relationship. It felt freeing because I could trust myself again. I lived on my own. Nobody could stop me. I felt invincible. So I was in massage school and working full time, late nights, 2, 3 in the morning, having to be at school at 7 in the morning, not getting much sleep. But somehow I still passed the class. And it was really cool to learn about. I felt like I learned my spiritual side of my body through yoga class. And then I learned the physical side of my body through massage school. Massage school was a lot of anatomy and physiology and kinesiology, and it felt really cool. I mean, I was so fascinated with biology and the way that our bodies worked, and I mean, it was really cool to see it from that perspective. I'm very much a visual person, so I picture the way that the muscle pulls the skeleton in the direction that it's trying to go. It was just a really cool thing for me to learn, because now I feel like I can look at someone and be like, oh, that's where they need work. And this is maybe something that's causing this. And I like that people can feel like they can come to me for pain that they're having, or for a little bit of answers, or, you know, most of the time my answer is, do you stretch? Because stretching, moving your body in the opposite directions that you do every single day, like sitting at a computer or leaning over a desk, writing, which usually we're not doing that anymore, but our bodies are meant to bend and reach and turn. And now in our life, everything is so easy for us to get to. We're not reaching to pull things off of trees. We're not getting things off the ground. We're not moving our spine and our body the way that it's meant to be moved. So we get stuck. Our muscles get stuck. And that was really cool for me to learn. So I started doing massage. I started my own massage business. And still have the massage business, but I was really excited and I had these big dreams for it. Little did I know at the time how much physical work it was. Even though I have very high expectations for myself, I still found myself figuring out where my limit was, and also realizing that where that limit was did not align with where I needed to be financially. So I realized that massage was going to be a side gig, which is an awesome side gig. Love doing it. I keep my same regular clients. I do it as much as I want. I do it to the point to where I'm not burnt out. And I do it to where I feel like I'm helping and still giving positive energy to someone when they ask for my help. So, along with bartending, I'm very much still learning the world of people. And in this world, especially with massage, where you're putting your hands on people, I believe there's a transfer of energy there. In the bar world, where you are this person that is light and that people look for happiness, look to relax, people want somebody that is easy and fun and breezy. That has been something that I have had to learn in my 30s, is how I come across is not always how I think I come across. I'm a very direct person, and people sometimes think I'm a bitch or intimidating. I've heard a lot of those things. I do have RBF. It's not my fault. But Something I've had to learn is how to not give people so much access to me, because I'm very much somebody that wants to be 100% authentic all the time. I feel like I find myself being too authentic, and it sometimes gets me in trouble. So something this past year I've had to learn how to do is to separate my soul essentially from the person I am professionally. And that was something hard to learn for me, because I didn't know how to not give 100% of myself to people, even if it was me being brutally honest. But I thought that was my superpower, was like, at least you'll know what you're getting with me. At least I'm real. That is not so much who I am anymore. It was this raw version of Haley that's healed, Haley that can do anything she wants, Haley that nobody can mess with again. It was this tough shell that I had created for myself. So these past 2 years, I've been searching for the balance between Haley, who is hard and tough and nobody can mess with, but also a soft version of Haley. And I found myself thinking before I speak, which was something my mom used to tell me all the time. Something I feel like I have heard my entire life. Think before you speak. And let me tell you, it is not easy, especially being a direct person. I'm sure you guys all know what this feels like. Sometimes you just want to give people a piece of your mind, and that is just not always the best decision, especially when you work in an industry like I work, where you're not necessarily getting everybody's best version of themselves either. So I've had to create this barrier, spiritual barrier, if you will, of protecting myself from the energies that be in the world of people, and not letting somebody that hurts me or that's mean to me when I'm behind the bar, or just in the world in general, somebody in traffic. I have a mantra, because I have to separate the emotion from it, because I let emotion eat me alive. I take things so personally because I feel like I take people into consideration to a fault, almost to the point of how I'm walking in a grocery store. I just feel like I am thinking about your side of the story, my side of the story, your perspective, my perspective. And when people don't handle situations the way that I think that I would handle it, because I am taking you into consideration as well as me, or the big picture, if you will, I find myself with my feelings hurt, which is a very heavy way to go through the world that we live in, because some people don't even think twice about stepping one foot in front of the other, much less you stepping your front foot in front of the other. People don't, not everyone, But a lot of people don't think about others that way. They're the main character in their head, which is fine, because that is, honestly, I'm somewhat envious of those people, because I feel like they live lighter and they don't, their brains have rest at times, because I feel like my brain, whether it's emotionally, whether it's planning for the future, my brain is always going, and it tends to be exhausting at times. So I've had to go into the space of the world, the public, with a little bit of a mask on to protect myself, and to also carry myself in a manner that I want to carry myself in. I don't want to be the girl that people are scared to talk to. So I've started, this works for me, it may not work for you, but I've started by, when my first reaction is to be angry or annoyed, you can see it all over my face. So I've started doing, it might make me look crazy because my eyes are probably still showing it, but I started choosing to smile first. And that, I read somewhere, rewrites it in your brain and makes you, it actually helps bring a positive reaction or a positive thought forward, rather than rolling your eyes and being annoyed at a situation. So I've started trying to smile first, which might make me look crazy, and then I have to turn my head and maybe roll my eyes or whatever. But I really, really, really try not to be like that. So smile first, even when I'm about to go into a public situation, because I do think that I have social anxiety. I take deep breaths and I smile and I say to myself, you can do this. You are happy. Nothing can affect you. You are strong. This is going to be a good situation. And I smile and I breathe. You've got this. You've got this. I've tried to rewire my brain into telling me everything is going to be okay. It's not that serious. And also, if things don't work out the way that I want it to, or if somebody doesn't handle a situation the way that I think they should handle it, I remind myself how blessed I am to live the life that I'm living, that I get to go through my life as me, because I feel so grateful to be sitting where I am. And so I tell myself I'm blessed and I will continue to be blessed, because that's how I feel. And that gives me a little bit of peace. So protecting my energy is something I'm really, really trying to take seriously, even to the point to where I wear earplugs sometimes, because I feel like it protects my energy. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a little bit more of, I can have a little bit more control over what's happening, and I don't react. It's like slower. So that's how I get my mental state right, along with waking up every day excited to complete the tasks on my list, even if I don't complete all of them, because it has been a struggle for me not to be hard on myself for not completing tasks. So I try to give myself a little bit more flexibility than I ever have in my life. But I always try to put restrictions on myself as far as try to tell myself that I can do that my mind is stronger than my wants. And a lot of the times it's with it started with eating and being a vegetarian because I thought that was healthier. But now it's like taking control over, okay, let's say I used to vape a lot. I loved vaping. And it was almost like taking control over that part of my brain that's like, you want this, you want this, you want this. It's like, I don't want that. I don't need that. Same with alcohol. I used to want to have a drink after work, or if I had a hard shift, I would be like, no, you don't need that. You don't want that. It was like the voice that wanted me to be the best version of me has gotten louder than the voice that wants a simple, quick fix, simple, quick dopamine hit. So creating habits that push me to be the best version of myself make me feel good and make me excited. I, every week, write a list of things that I want to get done, that I need to get done, and try to at least do one or two things on that list. That helps me stay organized. And also, it's really cool to look back on your list and see the things that you had put on your list and you had completed. Well, at least for me, I might be a nerd. I don't know. But to me, it looks good to look back and be like, oh, yeah, I did that. And sometimes I'll even go back because I put everything in my notes on my phone, and I'll be like, set goals for the month or for the year. And I'll write January 2020 goals. And then I'll do that. And then I'll go back and look at those goals that I've completed now. And it's really cool to look back and be like, okay, I did that. I can do that. And it almost feels like I can do anything at this point. So I try to stay productive. A lot of days, that's easier said than done. I try to go to the gym 5 days a week, or at least be active 5 days a week. That doesn't always look like a full-blown workout. Some days it's just walking my animals and doing some light yoga. But I feel like that time is my me time, and it is building endurance, essentially. And it also gives me a sense of accomplishment after I've done it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that sucked. I didn't want to go do it. But now that I've done it, I'm proud of myself. So sometimes I force myself, maybe to a fault, to do things. But that sense of accomplishment, I feel like, is a high for me. And it helps me feel like I'm still on the path to being the person that I want to be and feeling good in my body. And plus, I like food. So I don't want to feel like I can't eat food. It's like a reward almost. Like the gym is the reward, feeling that accomplishment is a reward, and then getting to eat pizza is also a reward because I love some pizza. So some days it's hard feeling that motivation to physically move my body. But how good it feels to get a full breath in when you're working out and you take deep breaths and it just feels good. Not if there's people in there that smell bad. I'm just kidding. Some days it's hard to take full breaths in the gym, but you know, you do what you can. But breath for me feels good. Organization for me feels good. Keeping lists, setting reminders, staying organized, and having a system keeps my mind clear and keeps me from spinning in circles at night whenever I am trying to go to sleep. And my mind is like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that. I keep something by my bed to take those things out of my head so I can have the peace to fall asleep. I stay financially productive by writing everything down, assessing my budget constantly, where I can cut back, things I'm spending too much money on. Usually it's shopping. That is one of my vices. I like shoes and I like clothes. So I try to set a weekly budget for myself. I'm still learning this part. It is not easy because I find myself spending money on food, clothes, all kinds of things that I should not be spending my money on. Obviously, you know, give and take here and there. But in order to be where I want to be financially, I have to chill on that. So what works for me financially is to have a few different savings accounts and have the money come out of my account as if it's a bill. It is a part of my budget as if it's a bill. I have planned it like I have no other choice but to have this come out, whether it's investments or putting money aside in a savings account, putting money in my Roth. These things I treat as bills because I have no choice but to put them in that account. And then I don't look at it. I don't think about it. I don't have that money. It's not there. It doesn't exist to me. Obviously, if I need it, I have an emergency fund. That money is there for that reason. But I really try really hard not to touch my savings unless I need to. I have what I used to do when I first started serving and I got all this cash that I wasn't used to having. I would make separate envelopes for things that I was saving for, whether it was a trip or my electric bill or my rent. And I would just put money in each of those envelopes each time. And that helped me stay organized. It helped me that was my version of putting cash in different bank accounts. Now, maturing in my financial goals, I've realized that I should have my money in savings accounts that gain interest, because that is how you move your money for you. That is a goal of mine right now, is move my money for me. It is something I am really trying to set up for myself. I really want to have money that moves for me. So that is what I'm working on now, is figuring out what I need to do to have money that works for me rather than me working for my money. It has been a learning experience. Nobody has ever really taught me about money. I wouldn't say that anybody in my life has been somebody that was good with money. It is actually somewhat of a hobby of mine to learn about money, to learn about what people with money are doing. So I will gladly share, obviously I'm no financial advisor, but I will gladly share the things that I'm doing to learn about money, the things that I have done to be able to invest my money. I personally believe real estate is where it's at investment wise. So that is a big goal of mine, is to have real estate, because property, land, I think is a very smart way to invest your money. For me, that's what works for me. I am no financial advisor, but that is a big goal of mine, is to have real estate, which is one of the reasons I got my real estate license. So I could learn and buy real estate and be someone that understood what was going on in the markets, what people are doing when they're buying real estate, what your taxes mean. I like learning about money as a whole. And plus, I love houses and I love land and I like decor. So I just really think that learning about real estate kind of was what was next for me. And then maybe I'll go to school for financial stuff. Not to be a financial advisor, but to learn about finance, because that interests me. But for now, I just listen to podcasts and ask questions, do some research, do my own research. I don't know everything, but I really am working so hard right now to build my financial goals to set me up to where my money works for me by a certain age, because I want to have more time. I want to have the freedom to do the things that I want to do, to be with the people that I love, because for me, I really think that is what life is about. And staying productive, getting my to-do list done, like that all feels good. But what really makes me feel good is traveling seeing family, creating new experiences with people that I love. That's why that is what her looks like for me. Having the freedom to spend time with the ones that I love, having the financial freedom to choose where I spend my time and who I spend my time with. I want to be in rooms of people that are smarter than me, people that I can learn from, people that inspire me daily. I think that's what my her looks like. A woman that is in a group of like-minded women, that is learning and growing and feeling inspired by the people she comes in contact with. But also having the choice not to drive to work in a rainstorm, or having the choice to work from home if I choose to do that one day. The one thing that I will say has helped me get to be where I am today, which, like I said earlier, is still a version of me that I prayed for in the past. And I think if you want to call it manifestation or if you want to call it setting goals, I really think it's the same thing. The one thing that has worked for me is setting goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, having a clear picture, a map, if you will, for things you want to accomplish, what you want your space to look like, what you want yourself to look like, how you want to carry yourself. The goals are the road to being her for me. I start with setting short-term goals, whether it's for the day, for the week, or for the month. Then I set long-term goals. Where do I see myself in the next 3 to 5 years? What do I want for myself? What do I want to accomplish? How do I want my life to look? And then I set goals for the next 10 to 12 years. Those are the goals that I really let myself think outside of the box. Those are the goals that I don't put limits on. The goals that I'm like, you can do anything that you want. You just have to believe that you can do it. One of my 10-year goals is to have that financial freedom to spend my time how I choose to spend it. If there's one thing that I feel like I have seen or heard from reading biographies or autobiographies of people that inspire me, they had a goal and they believed that they could accomplish it. I really think that there's something to that. And it makes me feel like there is a little bit of a superpower behind it. So, I have a little bit of homework, a call to action, if you will. Before we wrap up, I promise it's fun. It's fun for me, at least. I feel like it's fun. You might not feel like it's fun. But set aside 20 to 30 minutes this week. Grab a notebook, the notes app on your phone. That's usually what I use because I like to have it in my hand where I can look back on it years in advance or months in advance. Really lean into something that has been on your heart, something that you want to accomplish. Start small, do your short-term goals, and then go to your big goals. Write down all of them, no limits, no judgment, and visualize her for you. Close your eyes, picture it. Where are you? Who's around you? What does a perfect day look like? Write it down. Pick one action out of everything you wrote, one thing that you can do this week to move closer to that life, even if it's something small, like getting up and getting your gym clothes on and going to the gym. Even if it's something small, like setting a budget for yourself to set more money aside for a savings account. Even if it's something small, like going out of your comfort zone to be a part of a social gathering that you really want to be a part of, but you're really scared to put yourself out there and be around people you don't know. I'd love for you to share some of your goals and aspirations with me. Comment or email me. As always, if you'd like to share your story with the herd, email me and let me know. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about clarity, focus, and creating the life that you actually want. And I'm doing this with you. I am not standing from a place of, I have it all. I am still building the life that I want. I'm still growing into her. I'm still loading her. I just want us to do this together. So write in. Or if you feel like episode 2 gave you a call to action to share your story, email me, loading.herpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're okay with me sharing your story, I will. Sometimes getting it out is the first step to your healing process. At least for me, that's how it was. I really hope that you've enjoyed hanging out with me today. As always, we'll talk soon. I love you guys. You are now part of the herd.